Good morning. It's Friday, the 10th of July. We're Signal Centre Talking Ball. Joe Neighbour, Ian Coleman, Steve O'Hare. Morning, guys.
Morning all.
Good morning.
We made it
To
to
the
the
end
end
of
of
the
the
week.
week. Yeah.
Yeah, all intact.
Yep.
Just about.
Interesting day yesterday. Bit of risk off across the
Yeah,
board.
yeah.
Corona, isn't it?
It
That's what we
seems
were
to be
talking
that
about
way.
yesterday morning. Second waves of infection. Asia's getting record spikes.
Asia is. I haven't seen
Asia.
that.
Yeah, that was on the Bloomberg thing this morning. And then there's record deaths across certain states in the US. Let's have a look at my little thing. Florida, Arizona, Texas, and California. And spikes in. Let's have a look.
60,000 on the day again yesterday for the second time in a week in the States.
Yeah, record spikes of COVID-19 infections in Hong Kong and Tokyo.
Okay, that's not good.
No, I think we're heading for lockdown 2. That's why I
That
made sure I got 5 pints in last night.
is that your first trip to the pub?
No.
Of course not.
Yeah, of
Been there
course
every
not.
day
No,
since.
Tuesday. I went Tuesday. Every other day I'm allowed out.
Okay.
So
I
I'm
bet, I
staying
bet you
tonight.
notice a difference in the cost, don't you, when you get to the pub?
Yeah, they've put the prices up a bit as well to cover the lack of people in there. Because
Lack of
obviously there's
people and
only
all the extra funding they've had to put in for screens and
extra
disinfectant.
staff. They've
Yeah,
got about twice as many staff in our local because it's table service.
I just have to keep drinking at home to keep the cost down.
Yeah, exactly. That'll be tonight then.
Yeah. Well, I would do it if the bloody weather was nice.
It was gorgeous here today.
Shite.
Is it no good there,
Absolutely
Joe?
beautiful.
It's all right outside here at the
It was
moment.
raining when I woke up. The skies are a bit bluer now, so hopefully it sticks.
It's
Sticks
going to be a
well.
nice weekend, supposedly.
Oh, that's good. That is good. Okay. So yeah, that seems to be the main reason is fears over lockdown 2, as Ian said. Not good at all. White House task member Fauci, Dr. Fauci, he's been the guy that's been front and centre for the US, whereas we've had a team. This guy is bearing the brunt of all of it. He's got the whole weight of America on his shoulders by the
Poor
looks
lad.
of things. The poor guy. He said he was optimistic that there would be a vaccine by the end of 2020 or early 2021, provided some relief. I mean, that's just absolute.
But wasn't he the same guy that said that the vaccine's pointless because it will just mutate into something else?
He's been a few quotes that I've seen over the last couple of days that he said it's mutating and it's got a whole range of symptoms, which is worrying. And if he keeps saying negative stuff, I imagine you'll see him fired by Trump after too long.
Exactly. Got to be careful.
Yeah, definitely. He's walking a tightrope, that's for sure. Anything else that you've seen kicking down the worries on the markets? Anything else that's impacting? I
No.
saw oil's obviously taking another bath on the back of fears over demand. You know, if we do get another lockdown, we may see a repeat of what we saw early in the year with oil really struggling. Worthwhile having a look at the charts on that, I think. I'll just bring that
Yeah.
up. So that's the hourly chart. Looking to buy a dip on that today, down at 38. But if you look at the daily chart, which I highlighted, well, we have highlighted on a couple of occasions. Obviously, this is where the sell-off sort of really started at the start of the year. Really picked up steam when the lockdowns started to occur. We have now seen a move to close that gap on the daily chart. Pretty much nailed it to the pip there. If you go by the close on that daily chart, just exactly on that level and has stored. So sideways price action over the last few days and weeks or so. Just deciding what it wants to do. I think it's going to take a hell of a lot of momentum to try and break above that level there. You know, I just don't think the fundamentals are strong enough for it to do that. So I think maybe medium term the risk is to the downside on oil. Short term I'm looking for an intraday buy. I just think that's where the best level is on a snapshot of the next 24 hours. But I think next week it'll probably be a case of looking to sell rallies for me on that one.
Yeah, makes sense.
Gold acted a bit like a risk asset yesterday, which I was surprised about. That sold off within this channel still, so I'm still looking to buy gold. I still think the bull market is one of the strongest around in gold, so I'll be looking to buy dips on that down to sort of 1780 today, just around about or below that 78.6 of this swing move here, which also lines up with the lower end of the channel. So still a big fan of gold.
Yeah, daily
but
chart on that, Joe.
just interesting to see how it did sell off yesterday with risk assets. There's the daily chart. Massive bull market.
When you look at the different baskets, the obviously safe haven currencies being dollar, yen, and Swiss. Yen is a lot stronger than the other two, but we did see a run to the dollar yesterday, so maybe that's why we just saw a little dip down in gold. But
Yeah,
it doesn't. The rally up in the dollar doesn't look as strong as the rally up in yen. Is what I'm trying to get across. So that the gold safe haven might come back in again.
yeah, quite possibly. I mean, we put it down to last time, or it was certainly mentioned why we saw this sell-off here is because prior to the March sell-off, if you look at the strength in gold, you know, from down here in sort of mid 2018 up to when the pandemic really started to take a grip, you can imagine there's a lot of people that have made money along that move there. So they're liquidating the good stuff in order to fund the shit stuff probably down here, which is why it caused that big sell-off. So maybe we'll see another round of that again, but obviously it recovered very nicely and still very much on its way. One of the other things I noticed was not something that we cover, but the TLT, which is the 20-year Treasury bonds in the US. It's one of the big ETFs that everybody tracks over there as a safe haven asset. Had a really nice breakout yesterday above that 165 level. Obviously, that was not, that still got impacted by the coronavirus sell-off there with some very volatile moves, which are very uncharacteristic. But overall, still another bull market there. Maybe another case of selling that in order to fund other stuff. But picked up some steam yesterday, and I think that could be maybe headed back up towards those highs again.
Right. Nice.
So yeah, that was my take on stuff yesterday. Have any of you guys got anything on the currencies or index fronts? I know there was some tasty moves on the indices.
I'll have a little look. Silver for me, obviously, along with you on gold, Joe. Overall, I am pretty bullish on silver. We can see this sort of weekly chart, which had a severe sell-off in March, and it's recovered really nicely up to, funny enough, up to the sort of previous resistance levels. If we look around 1850 to 1900, 1965 is this spike higher here. We've sort of seen a bit of a retracement overnight. But again, I think these are the ones that the dips are these are the ones I'd like to be buying, the gold and silver. Copper had a small retracement from the highs yesterday, top of the channel, in fact. We can see going back from here. This was obviously drawn in last week or before that. It's a 4-hour chart. It hit the top of the channel nicely and reversed sharply from there. So there's potential for again a little bit of a sell-off in that commodity space.
The base metals have actually performed really well. If you look at some of the UK stocks that are tracking base metals, they've done really, really well. Which
they have, yeah. But obviously, there's that a second wave of the virus and a second lockdown would definitely impact on those. The oil and copper and stuff like that, even gold, I think. This obviously we were talking about the euro sterling yesterday, the head and shoulders formation. It's extended down a little bit. There's no real momentum here, so I'm a little bit concerned about it, but it's working. But the euro yen, the one we talked about yesterday, we were sort of saying buy dips in front of this trend line. If it breaks the trend line, get short, and that looks like the thing I'm looking to do today, selling it into a euro yen. FTSE broke out the triangle to the downside. If you remember a few weeks ago, we had the triangle was drawn down here, and when it spiked up through the top of the triangle, said a lot of the time that you get a false spike before they sell off. This is redrawn, so it's only 2 points. So it's a It's a potential trend line. I would say this is a proper trend line with 4 or 5 points being highlighted. It's broken below it, so does look a little bit Cantona.
I've got another take on that. If you don't mind me sharing my screen.
Yeah.
So this is the hourly chart on the FTSE 100. Bit of a head and shoulders breakout there. So we saw the right shoulder up here. We broke down through the neckline there at 61.23, and then we saw a pretty decent acceleration. So looking down to 5925 on that for a target.
Right. Yeah.
The reason I got this black line at 6025 is because it was a swing low from back there on the 25th of June. Didn't really do much in the way of support. Pierced through it quite quickly, having a little bit of a retest of it now. So you're selling rallies on that today, are you?
Yeah, selling rallies on that, and the swing low on the 15th of June, so 10 days before your one, is one to look for. That's around 59.35. That would be the ideal move. Only going for 2.5 to 1 risk reward on there.
So what was that second level you said?
59.35 around
yeah, so
there.
59.25 is the head and shoulders measured move target. So
Perfect.
they work.
I mean
that
quite
nicely.
Yeah, that will be nice. Yeah, but the interesting one for me yesterday actually was Nasdaq, how that reacted, and it sort of
zero fucks given.
Yeah, it basically was.
Buy the dip. It nailed that.
We were trying to buy a dip in both Dow and Nasdaq. Dow got stopped out, but Nasdaq got triggered a little while after Dow got stopped out. So we were looking to buy it at slightly lower levels from a percentage basis, and that worked like a dream. It's sort of like
that hit an all-time high yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
When everything else is coming off.
Yeah, so I suppose that if you think about it, technology is more in demand than the normal industrial
well, I suppose
element.
If we can't go out, then it's all
Zoom
and
doom.
Zoom and gloom.
Zoom and doom. Yeah.
Yeah, but you will be using your sort of your apps a bit more and stuff like that. So maybe that's where this sort of it's all coming from, and you're going to sit at home. You're going to be buying more stuff like Amazon. Amazon's going to see another.
He needs the money, doesn't he?
Yeah. But I think that maybe that's the reason for that, and that's going to benefit out of it.
Yeah, it seems to be. It seems to be the only. If you look at the breakdown of the sectors in the US from an ETF perspective, I think it's only tech and biotech that are outperforming the S&P 500. So you've got two sectors pretty much just driving the whole market, and obviously Nasdaq being predominantly technology stocks is got all the good stuff in it and looks a bit bubbly, I think. But at the moment, it's probably the safest place to be.
Yeah.
Until it obviously turns, and then you want to head for the hills as quickly as you possibly can.
Yeah, I mean, last one I promised before Ian can have a little go. Nikkei. I like talking about Nikkei, obviously, after you bringing it up yesterday. And again, we sort of we sold the 22,650 level. We were short of it when we were talking live on air yesterday. And I wish I'd have done that from gun to head because that worked really nicely. It moved lower. I'm now looking to buy the bottom of this channel, but I am a little bit nervous about it. I'll let you know. So, but that's live until 4 o'clock this afternoon, and then I don't have to worry about it anymore. But yeah, it's just trading that channel really. But yeah, I'm sort of obviously nervous to the downside buying the dip, but sometimes it works just as well.
All right, lovely. Ian, let's have a look at what you've got to say.
Dollar index first. So this was obviously that dip being bought into yesterday, and then as I was saying, not 2 minutes ago, obviously the dollar index doesn't look as strong as the other yen pairs. So we are still having a little sort of pull to the downside, but I think this swing low here, 96.57, will probably protect any sort of sell-off in the dollar this morning. Euro dollar, I think that's a decent sort of breakout of this trend line. There's a reverse trend line at 112.98, but we've got bespoke support here, and it's just pulling higher. And I'm wondering whether or not we'll actually get up to these sort of levels to maybe get a head and shoulders formation before we sort of move lower. Commodity currencies, I think, are quite interesting. Bogdan obviously nailed this one yesterday. Again, I think that downsides are going to be limited in all of these. Aussie dollar. If we go to, where is it? This chart. So it's near a 78.6% pullback level. And we actually formed, I think it was a evening doji star on one of the time frames. Here you go, 8 hours. So all these are looking quite toppy now. New Zealand dollar, we're trying to catch that. We talked about that Gartley yesterday, but it looks like it's coming short. We've got bearish engulfing. And if we go to this time frame, this is what I'm looking at today, is again previous swing high, which I think will protect any sort of upside rallies. We've got reverse trendline resistance at 65, 67. We should have been triggered, but haven't had an alarm yet. And looking for sort of moves down here. So I think it's still risk off. And let's have a look at the mighty CAC, which we should do every day.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
Because I'm just giving all the little crappy markets these days.
No, I'm talking about the CAC.
Oh, right, sorry.
You said the mighty CAC. It's been sold off.
So we talked about this little head and shoulders, and again, it's there's decent risk here. It's got previous swing low here, got a reverse trend line resistance here. So sort of getting short, I believe, anywhere around this sort of level offers quite decent R with a target down here. So I still think it's risk off. I think this is a spoof rally this morning, or a spoof correction.
Yeah. Apart from if it's NASDAQ. Everything else is
whatever you call in Nikkei, basically.
Okay. Got to the head yesterday?
Yeah, good day.
Oh, that sounds good.
3 out of 3.
Ding, ding, ding. Oh, look, who was that one? Dollar Swiss.
Dollar Swiss, myself, 1.93R.
Well done.
Euro sterling 0.69R and dollar index 0.92R. So collectively we put on 3.54R on the day. Nice little tick up in the overall P&L, bang on trend support. And yeah, heading in the right direction again. So,
nice one.
Should I go?
Yeah, go.
Should I go now? All right, let's go. So I looked at dollar Swiss yesterday, and the reason I bought it was because I was actually looking to sell it higher up. And I think it was around about this sort of level now.
That makes sense, doesn't it? The reason I bought it is because I was looking at selling it.
Yeah, I was looking on my intraday analysis.
We know what you mean.
So we've seen a little shooting star candle there. We've broken out of the channel. Whether or not that holds, I mean, overall it's in a downtrend. So I'm still gonna go with that. I was also looking at the dollar index as well because that looked quite interesting from a technical perspective. I mean, I've drawn that channel on this morning. Maybe, I don't know, looks okay.
It might come down to that previous support to make a reverse head and shoulders, but it's quite a short time frame, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that candle there, I'm only looking really over the last hour to see what's happened with these candles, and that one is, a fairly significant reversal. So, in fact, I'm just going to go with this. I'm going to sell that now at 96.80. I'm going to put a stop at 96.99. Not ideal. Ideally, you'd be above the round numbers, but I want to get some decent R if I'm right. And I'm going to target a move. Let's go for a 78.6 at 96.40. So not great risk reward, 2.11. But that could also work out nicely if Ian's correct in calling that as an inverse head and shoulders on the dollar index. Oops, what have we done there?
Got a funny head.
All right. Yeah, something like that. Maybe down to there. We'll see. Anyway, going long a dollar. Short dollar index at 96.80. Who's next?
Me. Only because it's right on my level, so I don't have to do anything.
Go on then.
New Zealand dollar. I'm going long of the dollar index, short of New Zealand dollar. So I'm getting short here, 65. I've got to move it 2 ticks. You took too long. 65, 63. That'll do. It's a 6R, 65.63, targeting 63.85. We'll stop at 65.90 for all the reasons I discussed earlier. Nice outside bar on that 4-hour chart as well there.
Decent R as well on that.
Decent R,
Lovely.
6.4. I need it to catch you up.
Come in, Steve.
Well, on the intraday trade, I'm looking at selling euro dollar, but it's a little bit higher, around about 13.50 all the way up here. So on the hourly chart, I've just noticed this in the last hour, or up to 8 o'clock, between 8 and 9, because we've gone past 9. Bullish outside candle on that. So I'm going to buy euro dollar, and this is, as you say, a really short-term trade. 127.90 we're getting long at 112.79. I'm going to put the stop at 112.49. I'm going to just target a nice 3-1. Let's get 3-1. Now I'll tell you what. Oh yeah, I'll target 3-1. Yeah, 113.69. That would take it up through my intraday trade idea, which I'm looking to sell at 113.50, but what I'll do is it'll take profit at 13.69 and then collapse, committee.
So
that's I'm giving you both two
topping and tailing again.
2 for 1 there.
Trades. 2 for 1, yeah. Two for the price.
3 for 1 for the 2 for 1.
Bog off. Buy one get one free. So that's what I'm going to go for.
Okay.
Call me mad, but
Well, you got a gun to your head. You got to make a call, and
Yeah.
that's what you've done. So let's see what happens. Okay, so for the rest of the day, we've got Canada employment data due out at 1:30. We've also got US PPI inflation numbers, the only economic releases of note. One thing to mention next week is that we are going to start seeing a number of earnings from US companies, and many are preparing for the worst with that, with Q2 expected to represent the height of the crisis. So we're going to get a decent look
More doom
under the bonnet at some of these companies and see what's going on.
That could be Catalyst 2, that could be.
Yeah, very well could be, but there's measures in place to help these companies, as we've seen in the UK and the US. So I'm sure they'll be doing all they can to dress these up, and make them not look as bad.
It was quite. Did you read the report about everybody already trying to fiddle Sunak's different incentives or things that he's given away? So first of all, the food voucher, you get 10 quid a man, don't you? Different restaurants, blah blah blah.
£10 a head, is it, or
£10 a head?
Okay.
No, £10 a head, up to 50% spend, only on food, not on booze.
Yeah.
So people are talking about going one place for the starter, one place for a main course munch up, and then somewhere else for desserts. See if
Sounds
they can
like
get
a cracking idea. Well, the restaurants are still getting paid from it, aren't they? I guess that's...
Yeah, if you're just taking money out of the government, I suppose, aren't you?
Yeah.
So I don't get it. You can't have 3 courses then?
No, but you'd only get a tenner off one
£10 per
meal.
head at one restaurant.
So if there's 3 of you, you spent 60 quid on starters,
Yeah.
which should, if you had a bit of lobster and all the rest of it, you'd
Oh,
only
yeah,
pay
like
for.
Fishing village.
You'd only pay 30 quid, and then you go for a steak Diane at restaurant number 2.
Steak Diane.
Steak Diane, and you only pay 30 quid there. And then I don't know what you'd have for dessert, maybe
a panna cotta or something and a coffee.
Are you allowed to have something with alcohol in it? I know it's not, maybe
think
a
so,
tiramisu or something.
Yeah.
maybe
Or is that bad?
tiramisu. Yes.
Well, see. Well, I mean, unfortunately, you're going to get that. You're going to get these people trying to scam this sort of system.
Indeed.
Don't encourage it.
No. Well, the Sun's already done that, because I think it was from the Sun anyway. I think that's what
Classic.
they've posted it out there.
That fantastic rag.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about your son for a second. When you said, "Oh, the son's already done that," I thought you meant your son's already.
No. He
He's
did go out for
fleeced all
dinner
the
last night,
restaurants.
though. He did go out for dinner last night.
No, yeah, I mean, you've got to create some ways of getting people spending, because I think we've all become a bit frugal sitting at home.
Well,
Don't
what
like
was it?
spending money.
20 billion was paid off credit cards in the first month, wasn't it?
Really?
Okay. 20
I mean,
billion. I think
know
we're
my
up to
kids have done that.
68 billion or something was the last count since the
Really?
beginning. Yeah, since the beginning of Corona. So
68 billion has been paid off.
credit cards.
Wow.
Yeah.
Still a long way to go, I reckon.
Yeah. I don't know. There are figures out there for the average household debt on cards. It's quite
It's huge,
astronomical, actually, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
something like 30,000 or something like that.
35 grand it was about 5 years ago.
Wow,
Yeah,
I mean-
on cards. That's as a whole family unit, but that's just ridiculous.
I'm sure that's the girls in our house that have totted that up.
Yeah.
My dad used to cut my mum's up, make her
Oh,
cry.
yeah. Always
Just
a
got
good
them,
idea.
got 'em on their phones now, haven't they? You just have to
Yeah.
smash their phones.
Yeah. Just don't let them out of the house. That's what I do.
Yeah. Okay, should we wrap it up for the week?
Yep.
Yeah.
Cheers,
have a good
everyone.
one.
Right.
Have a lovely
done,
weekend.
guys. Yeah, have a nice one. See you
Cheers.
later. Bye.
Bye.